Hello, everyone, and welcome back one last time to the Kaspa Miniseries. I'm Alex. We thought we were done, but after combing through the 7.5-hour The Bitcoin Takeover podcast, we realized there were just too many gems left on the cutting room floor.
And I'm Jamie. That's right. A conversation that long is bound to have fascinating tangents, hilarious moments, and brilliant audience questions that didn't quite fit into our main themed episodes. So, we decided to put together one final special bonus episode.
Consider this the director's cut. Today's episode is bonus Q&A highlights, and we're sharing the best of the rest. The moments that show the human side of the debate and add even more color to this incredible conversation between Yonatan, Sompolinsky, and Vlad Costea.
Let's start with the fun stuff. The interview had some genuinely lighthearted and memorable moments. One of the first things Vlad asked Yonatan was the classic question that follows any prominent proof-of-work figure. Why do some people think you're Satoshi?
You have to ask. What was his response?
He was very humble about it. He said he thinks it's mostly because there aren't many other proof-of-work figures, plus some coincidences. But, he added, I think most of the people don't really think it, but just enjoy thinking it.
That's a great way to put it. But the best moment came a little later. During the interview, a strange noise started in the background on Yonatan's side.
Vlad asked, "Is that a cat?" And Yonatan nonchalantly leans over, picks up a small turtle, and holds it up to the camera saying, "Oh, it's a turtle. We call it actually Bitcoin."
No way. He has a turtle named Bitcoin?
He does. And he joked, "We released it and then he came back, so I guess the tie with Bitcoin is unavoidable." The live chat, of course, went wild. Vlad pointed out that people were already saying they were going to make a meme coin of that turtle.
That's amazing. It's those little unscripted moments that make these long-form conversations so special. It wasn't all serious protocol debate.
Not at all. There was another great tangent where he and Vlad bonded over old video games. They reminisced about classics like Prince of Persia and Space Invaders. Yonatan made a really insightful point, saying those old, brutally difficult games built in resilience in you. They taught a generation how to grind and cope with failure, a spirit he feels is sometimes missing today.
Okay, so beyond the fun and games, the live audience asked some incredibly sharp questions that took the conversation in fascinating directions. Let's talk about the Kaspa Genesis block.
Right. A user named Altcoin Bonanza asked about the vision behind the verse from the Old Testament, Ezra 1:7, that's embedded in it.
That's a deep cut. What was the story there?
Yonatan explained that it was a verse where the Aramaic word for silver or treasure, Kaspa, appears. But the context was even more important. The verse is part of the declaration of Cyrus the Great, the Persian king who freed the Jewish people from Babylon. He said Cyrus was praised in the Old Testament as a pluralistic and noble ruler, and that the verse represents an aspiration for a world which many people from across the aisle can identify with.
Wow. So the Genesis block isn't just a technical marker, it's a philosophical mission statement for pluralism and unity. That's incredible. What other great questions came up?
There was a really practical one from a user named Abu Jiha about stablecoins on Kaspa. This is a huge topic, as stablecoins are one of the biggest real-world use cases for crypto.
What was Yonatan's take? Does he see a place for them?
He was very pragmatic. He said, whether or not, the fact is that stablecoins is one of the main product-market fit of crypto. He acknowledged that they are how most people are using crypto today. While his personal preference is for decentralized, algorithmic stablecoins over centralized ones, he said he wouldn't think even to oppose them on Kaspa, because they are so critical for adoption.
So he's a realist. He understands that for Kaspa to succeed, it needs to embrace the tools that people are actually using.
Exactly. And that pragmatism also came through when someone asked the ultimate bull case question. Can Kaspa flip Bitcoin in the future?
The flippening. How did he handle that one?
With a brilliant analogy. He said he doesn't see Kaspa replacing Bitcoin as digital gold, just as the US dollar hasn't replaced gold. Instead, he pointed out that the market caps of gold, the ultimate store of value, and the US dollar, the ultimate medium of exchange, are in the same order of magnitude.
So his point is that the world is big enough for both. A premier store of value and a premier medium of exchange can coexist as multi-trillion-dollar assets. He's not aiming to flip Bitcoin. He's aiming to build a parallel system for a different purpose that can be just as massive.
It's a vision of a complementary ecosystem, not a zero-sum war. And finally, one of my favorite tangents was the deep dive on the launch of Grin, the privacy coin. Yonatan used it as a cautionary tale that directly influenced Kaspa's own launch.
What was the lesson from Grin?
He argued that Grin was too fair. Its emission schedule was a constant, flat curve with no real advantage for early adopters. He said this disappointed a lot of people and killed the incentive to hold or invest in the project's early, difficult days. He said it turned away the devs themselves.
So in trying to be perfectly egalitarian, Grin failed to create the economic incentives needed to bootstrap a network and community.
That was his conclusion. And it directly informed Kaspa's rapid emission schedule. He made a conscious decision to err in the other direction, to ensure that the earliest supporters were strongly rewarded for taking the risk. It's a perfect example of how Kaspa's design was forged in the real world, learning from the successes and failures of those that came before.
These bonus moments really add so much color. From turtles named Bitcoin to the lessons of failed projects, they show the human side of building something new.
They absolutely do. They remind us that behind all the code and the market charts are people with their own histories, philosophies, and even a sense of humor. It's been an incredible journey, and these final highlights are the perfect way to wrap it up.
And with that, our Kaspa miniseries is officially complete. We've covered everything from the deepest tech to the highest philosophy.
We hope you've enjoyed it as much as we have. Thank you for listening and for being part of this journey.